This simply is not good for the Houston Texans, as there is some questions regarding their running back room still in head of the matchup against the Los Angeles Rams this Sunday afternoon. And in this video for Texans Digest, we're going to give you the latest update on that room and what to expect this Sunday in that big week one matchup. And before we do that, we just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have not yet subscribed, we're currently at 2030. We're trying to get to 2031 by the end of the day. So we just want one subscriber for today. That is our goal at the channel. 2031, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on all of your Texans content. Now, as far as today, we are talking about the Texans running back room, which we've reported on about a couple weeks ago, talking about Joe Mixon's injury, obviously, which is a huge, huge deal to this team. He will be out for the first 4 games, being placed on the injured reserve. But now we have to turn our attention to who is going to fill that role. And as we reported a few weeks ago, right, Nick Chubb seems to be that guy. But as of right now, the Texans running back room is in flux amid the Joe Mixon injury. Mixon's absence leaves 5 running backs on the roster, with offseason signing Nick Chubb as the likely one to take the lead back in his role in his place. And that is certainly expected considering how much of a veteran Nick Chubb is. But according to Jeremy Fowler from ESPN, it seems that plan for Chubb could shift quickly, as the veteran reportedly hasn't shown the same levels of explosiveness as showcased during his Cleveland Browns days. And if we all remember, going back to the Cleveland Browns, when you saw Nick Chubb on the field, he was an absolute force out there. When we signed him this past offseason, I was very, very excited. I was looking forward to that version of Nick Chubb. And as it looks like right now, that version of Nick Chubb might not be exactly what the Texans have got. And understood, right? There are some years that have passed since his, prime glory days on the Cleveland Browns. But at the same time, it is a little bit disappointing to see that this backup back that is now going to be the starter potentially for week one, not showing enough of what what head coach DeMeco Ryans wants and what this Texans coaching staff wants is not great news. It is simply not great news for that. And Jeremy Fowler talks about this in his most recent quote right here, where he says, with no sense of when Joe Mixon might return from his injury, the Texans are piecing things together at running back. They kept 5 backs: Nick Chubb, Damian Pierce, Dare Agunbawale, I think it's Dare, British Brooks, and 4th-round rookie Woody Marks. Chubb seems to be the starter for now, but he hasn't shown the same explosiveness post-injury that he had earlier in his career, which could open the door for Pierce or Marks to take on a larger role. And to talk quickly about that, Damian Pierce is kind of the dark horse in this entire scenario, right? If Nick Chubb can't really get it done on his end, Damian Pierce to me is the next go-to guy for this team. He's been on this team, I think this is his 3rd year. He had a great rookie year. From what we saw his rookie year, it looked like he was going to be a starter for years to come. Then we signed Joe Mixon, and it was Joe Mixon that took over that role, and Damian Pierce has kind of taken a step back. And so this could be the time where Damian Pierce can make a move to be the starting running back for this Texans team. Now, once Joe Mixon comes back, we all expect him to be the starter, regardless of who starts the next 4 games. But Damian Pierce could solidify him as running back number 2, albeit we just signed Nick Chubb to be running back number 2. So, pros and cons. Jeremy Fowler continued to talk about this situation, saying, quote, it'll be interesting to see how many of these guys are active on game days, since Brooks and Pierce are too valuable on special teams to be inactive. But until someone steps up and shows more than they have so far, expect the Texans to use the run game to set up a passing game they believe will be more dynamic in C.J. Stroud's 3rd year than it was in a disappointing 2024 that led to the firing of offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick. So in terms of the run game, it is to set up the passing game. So expect some passing to be done by C.J. Stroud. Expect this offense to be a pass-first kind of offense. That is where it's going to solidify itself on, which is a very exciting thing. If you're watching the Texans every single week, that is a very exciting thing, awesome thing to see. But when you talk about passing, you have to talk about the offensive line. Is that offensive line going to hold? Are we going to be a wall there for C.J. Stroud? Though that is also a question right now. We still don't know if this offensive line is going to be absolute dog water, right? Like it's still a major question, right? We have all these pieces, we've done all these things throughout the offseason, but at the same time, you haven't played a game yet, and so you're going to see whether or not your team has what it takes to be able to run an offense that is a healthy offense, is an offense that makes sense, and is an offense under first-year offensive coordinator Nick Caley. So this offense is one giant question mark, and it's good to have C.J. Stroud as kind of the foundation for that, to have him back there, a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but at the same time, it's not the most exciting news for Texans fans. And so that's why I'm very, very worried about this week one matchup. Yes, it is against a very, very solid team in the Los Angeles Rams. And the Los Angeles Rams or a team that is about the same as the Texans in terms of Super Bowl hopes, right? Kind of on the outside looking in, but still one of the better teams in the NFL. And I did say that Matthew Stafford has been dealing with a back injury. He seems to be good to go for this Sunday, but still that injury is a asterisk to his availability this Sunday. Now, although that is not the greatest news, right? We don't have a solidified running back. There is some good news on the opposite side, right? On the Los Angeles Rams defense side, as the Los Angeles Rams last year struggled with run defense early in the season, ranking 28th in opponent rushing yards per game and 26th in yards per carry allowed. However, the team's run defense did improve on the latter half of the season, particularly after a Week 7 loss to the Eagles. And so the reason why I bring that up is, yes, we are dealing with all of these running issues, right? Who is going to be the lead back? How good of a run team are we going to be to start off the season right here in Week 1? The bright side of all of this is last year, the Rams didn't have the best run defense. So if there's ever a team that you would want to play, it is a team that's going to be in the latter half of those standings last year. The Rams are in that kind of latter half, teams that struggled defending the run. And that is the other good thing about, Joe Mixon missing the first 4 games, albeit I hope and wish that he was on this team playing those first 4 games. But again, he is not. But the bright side of it is that you're not playing teams that are very, very good at defending the run, except for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the only team in those first 4 games that have a good, solid run defense. So that is the game I am most concerned about. I think that's our Week 2 matchup. But you also play the Titans and the Jaguars in the first 4 games. And so those were teams that also struggled with defending the run, especially the Tennessee Titans, who I believe were either last or second to last in that category. And so it's a good side to all of this. It's something that is okay. I'll take that as a win for right now. But unfortunately, this running back room is still very much a question mark. And so determine what is going to be that, or who is going to be that lead running back, is going to be determined in these first 4 games, or who is going to be that backup running back once Joe Mixon returns. Because we also don't know how severe this Joe Mixon injury is and how liable he is to get re-injured or whatever the case may be. Hopefully he does not. We wish him a very healthy 2025 NFL season, but these things do happen in the NFL. So we have these 5 guys on the roster: Agumba Wally, British Brooks, rookie Woody Marks. So do not be surprised if he gets some playing time this week. I can fully see him trying to get some of those steps to try to combat this kind of Damian Pierce, Nick Chubb situation where things are still a little bit in the air, but fully expect Nick Chubb to start this Sunday. I expect him to be that starting running back. We're going to see how it feels. I feel like they'll get a good feel as to how he is translating his game to set up C.J. Stroud and the passing offense. But look for that. Hopefully we can have someone that kind of stands out in these first 4 games to kind of solidify, who is going to be RB2 once Joe Mixon comes back. And so it's going to be a very, in my opinion, scrappy offense for Week 1. It's going to be very hard to figure out, but the question remains, can it ultimately lead to a dub to start off this season? That is the big question. Certainly, our defense is going to be a huge part in that, right? Limiting the Rams' offense to as much as they possibly can. A very explosive offense that includes guys like Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua. And so lots to look forward to. We're going to give you more updates in the lead up to this Los Angeles Rams game. Again, we are trying to get 1 subscriber by the end of the day. We just want 1. It could be you. It could be your friend. Tell somebody about this channel if they are a Texans fan and they want to stay up to date on all of their Texans updates throughout all the season. And so that wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been your host, Donovan Ricondo, and we'll see you on the next one. Adios.